From Washington, this is VOA News. Coming up, brief Monday truce declared in the Gaza conflict. U.S. doctor infected with Ebola improving. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Norman. Israel says its troops will hold fire in most of the Gaza Strip for 7 hours on Monday to allow Palestinians access to humanitarian aid and for displaced civilians to return to their homes. On Sunday, Israeli airstrikes into Gaza killed dozens. At least 10 people were killed, another 35 wounded at a UN-operated school sheltering displaced persons in Gaza by what a UN official said appeared to be an Israeli airstrike. More now from VOA's Scott Bobb in Gaza City.
Hospitals in Gaza struggle to cope with the new influx of wounded from Israeli airstrikes in recent days. Palestinian officials said the death toll had surpassed 1,700 people. Israel said 64 of its troops had been killed, including a soldier who was thought at first to have been kidnapped by Hamas fighters. That incident Friday broke a short-lived ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Saturday the ground operation to destroy infiltration tunnels into Israel was nearly ended. He said Israeli defense forces would continue to work until the tunnels are destroyed, and he added the forces were prepared to continue operating according to Israel's defense needs until security is restored to Israel. Scott Bobb, VOA News, Gaza.
Chinese officials say an earthquake in a remote and mountainous region of the country's southwest killed at least 357 people and collapsed thousands of buildings. More than 1,400 people were injured in Sunday's quake, many people still missing. Quake's epicenter was in the southwestern Yunnan province, and the U.S. Geological Survey says the quake had a magnitude of 6.1. Deadly clashes between Ukrainian forces and pro-Russia separatists continued on Sunday as investigators searched the site of the Malaysian passenger plane crash for a third day. Local officials in Donetsk said 6 people were killed there in shelling between the two sides. An official tells Reuters news agency 3 other people were killed in Luhansk. And the head of the Dutch police mission working at the crash site, Peter Jaap Albersberg, spoke Sunday with reporters.
At the moment, we are only searching the area for human remains and personal belongings. The whole area, we have 5 selected and prioritized spots where we expect to find most of it.
Investigators focusing on recovering several dozen bodies still missing more than 2 weeks after the Malaysian plane was shot down, killing all 298 passengers and crew. Most of the victims were from the Netherlands. A top U.S. health official says that the American doctor who contracted the deadly Ebola disease in Liberia seems to be improving. Head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Tom Frieden, said Sunday that he cannot predict the future for individual patients, but it's encouraging that Dr. Kent Brantley appears to be getting better. Brantley arrived in the U.S. on Saturday from Monrovia, Liberia. He's in a special isolation unit. He had been in Liberia working for the Christian charity Samaritan's Purse. Frieden told NBC's Meet the Press Sunday Ebola can, in West Africa, be stopped.
It is currently out of control in Africa with a high risk of spreading further in Africa. What we're doing now at CDC is surging our response. We are going to put at least 50 public health experts in the 3 countries in the next 30 days, because actually we do know how to stop Ebola. It's old-fashioned, plain and simple public health. Find the patients, make sure they get treated, find their contacts, track them, educate people, do infection control in hospitals. You do those things, but you have to do them really well, and Ebola goes away.
The Ebola virus has killed more than 700 people in Africa, mainly in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, and could have catastrophic consequences if allowed to spread, according to World Health officials. 50 African heads of state expected to attend a three-day Africa summit beginning Monday here in Washington, where the U.S. will unveil nearly $1 billion in business deals, more funding for peacekeeping, and commit billions of dollars to food and power programs in the continent. China, Europe, and Japan have all tried similar events to encourage investments in Africa.
That's the latest world news from VOA.